Good morning. This is Rick. I hope you're having a great day. Right, it's a Sunday lunchtime. I'm about to head to my niece's house. I've got a card to give her. And then I may go off and do a little walk in the forest. Sorry, no, I'm not going to burst into song. Just having a little practice. But yeah, I think I'm going to jump in the van. I'm going to go and head off to it's my niece's birthday, so I'm going to drop her a card off. And then I think I'm going to go for a little walk. And you guys are welcome to join me if you want.
This is a reminder. Post Naomi's birthday card. If you finish this, just let me know you're done with the reminder. Otherwise, I'll remind you in an hour.
I'm already on it, Alexa. Alexa, this is done.
Okay, I'll stop reminding you.
So, here we are in Guinevere. Been a while, hasn't it, since we made a video in the van. I thought I would try a new angle today. I've got one of those window sucker things and it's connected to my Volta handle, so hopefully this is going to come over quite well. I'll probably be alternating between this and looking out the front because I've got the dash cam recording everything as well. So thanks for all the great comments on the previous video. Lots of people asking how's the health thing going, how's the gallbladder. So and also people are asking, you know, what am I eating now, because obviously I was logging up until sort of day 72, like my journey into the carnivore diet. If you don't know, after day 72 of eating high fat, low carb, my gallbladder decided to start playing up and aching. Now, it's done it in the past, and I've normally fixed it by dialing back on the fats. Now, before, when it started playing up, I would literally just switch off any fat intake and just like go completely over to carbs. And it would generally settle things down quite quickly. But this time I decided I want to do it in a more measured way. So I decided to dial back a little bit on the fats and dial up a little bit on the carbs. So essentially I was going into just basic keto. And I did that for a little while, and so I literally just switched to keto. I was starting to have, you know, things like avocados, little bits of salad, just, you know, real basic keto stuff, still doing the meats, but just dialing back on the intentional fat intake. Unfortunately, it didn't have any effect on the pain in the gallbladder. So I just kept dialing back on the fats, dialing up the carbs, until eventually I knocked myself out of ketosis. Now, I was hoping I could do this without knocking myself out of the ketogenic state, because I was fully fat adapted and burning fats for fuel. But unfortunately my gallbladder had other ideas, and so I had to get myself in a state where I was no longer in the ketogenic state in order for the gallbladder to start settling down. And once I came out of ketosis, the gallbladder did indeed start settling down. So that's kind of a plus. However, the moment I came out of ketosis, within a few days, the IBS came back and the anxiety came back. So yeah, all that's done is reinforce that the only thing that allows me to thrive is ultra low carb and high fat. Because when I do that, not only does the IBS go away, not only does the anxiety go away, but I feel incredible. My weight drops right down. I'm no longer retaining water. I'm no longer got generalized inflammation. But as soon as I fall out of that ketogenic state, all of the bad stuff comes back, and I start putting on weight as well. So it's not ideal. Right, there we go, drop my letter off. Now, I was thinking of heading for the forest, but it's going to be busy because it's a Sunday. It's going to be full of people. So there is somewhere else that I want to go. I just want to check out a place. It's just outside of town, and I'm curious. Well, I'll explain when I get there. But going back to the health thing, yeah. So I've now established that I thrive on ultra low carb, high fat, and that seems to be the only thing I can get involved with without the weight gain, without the generalized inflammation, without the IBS, without the anxiety playing a part in my life. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that I've done this experimenting over the last sort of week or so, just to obviously try to settle down the gallbladder, but it's also really completely reinforced that exactly what I need to be doing in the way of diet and lifestyle in order to thrive. But unfortunately, right now, it is a bit of a catch-22 situation, because if I do what it is that I need to do, as in go ultra low carb, high fat, then the gallbladder is getting in my way. So anyway, the bottom line is the gallbladder has now settled down quite significantly. There is the slightest little dull ache there in the background. But right now I am no longer in the state of ketosis, but I'm going to now try to ease myself back into that ketogenic state and just see whether I can get away with it or whether it causes the gallbladder to flare up again. I am taking something called taurine, which apparently encourages the gallbladder to do its thing. I've stopped taking the Tudka because it didn't seem to be doing a lot. Oops. It's tricky around here. But I've done a bit of a deep dive on the gallbladder, and quite often when a gallbladder starts getting grumbly, it's because it hasn't been used a lot, and the bile tends to get a little bit like sludgy, and somebody described it as like molasses, so it gets really thick and like not very liquidy, and just generally using it, maintaining a fat intake, does apparently over time sort of settle things down again. And I've said right from the start, if I can save the gallbladder, I want to do it. But anyway, I've got a consultation with a doc on Friday. I've had blood tests done, and they did flag up some things to do with the liver, which I do believe is again to do with the iffy gallbladder. But anyway, I'm going to chat with the doc on Friday, and we'll see what the options are. But if he says you've got to have it out, assuming it's diseased, then I may take some drastic steps to just get it done and dusted rather quickly, rather than go on to the NHS waiting lists, which could be, we're talking many months. I understand there's a backlog in the NHS of like millions and millions of people waiting for ops and things like that. So we'll see. I'll cross that bridge when I've chatted with the doctor on Friday. But I may just make a phone call, actually, phone call to the bank manager first, then a phone call to a private clinic, and see if I can just get this thing done and dusted. We'll see. But in the meanwhile, I am heading to a little place called Wombre. Now, this is a little village that sits over the big town where I live, and it's always been quite a nice little place to go. I'm going to go to the where the church is, because from the church there's a nice bit of grounds that you can actually overlook the town. The problem is, they've been expanding the town, and I think, I'm not certain, but I do believe that build is going to now envelop that outlying village. So all of a sudden that village is going to become attached to the town. Hello, we've got some flooding. Oh, somebody being extremely cautious. They're waiting for me, that's good. Ooh, we're getting a wheel wash. That wasn't too bad. I came across a flood not so long ago, a number of weeks ago. I happened to be out Cirencester Way, and there was a flood under a railway bridge, and it just went on and on and on, and I just could not see whether it was safe to cross or not. And so, erring on the side of caution, I decided to turn around. The problem is I was on a single track road and I had to back up this single track road. Luckily, nobody else was behind me, and I had to go in reverse for at least about 3 or 4 minutes. It must have been at least half a mile that I had to back up before I could find a place where I could turn around. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of building barriers and things. Although that's more like a flood warning barrier. Not sure. I haven't been here for a long time. Wow, this is all new. Okay, so right. See, none of those houses were there last time I came down here. So Upper Womber, you've got Lower Womber and Upper Womber. Lower Womber is down here on the flat, and then Upper Womber is literally up on the hill that you can see in front of us, hopefully, assuming I'm showing you some dash cam footage. But I'm looking to go over to the right there. You can actually see Womber Church, Upper Womber Church. And from there you can look from the top of the hill over the town. I'm just curious to see how much it's changed and how far they've built up towards the village. But I was thinking this morning about the topsy-turvy world that we live in, and I was just thinking about this. You know, when I was talking about the low carb, high fat thing. What it's literally done is it's turned the food pyramid on its head. And this is why I say we live in a topsy-turvy world, because the powers that be and those, or perhaps the powers that shouldn't be, advise us all to eat like the food pyramid. And if I were to eat the food pyramid, I'm going on about food again, aren't I? If I were to eat the food pyramid, is there flooding down? I think this place is prone to flooding. We'll see. But yeah, if I were to eat the food pyramid, I would be inflamed, sick, with IBS, anxiety, and probably registered on the health system a lot more. But when I turn the food pyramid on its head and do literally the opposite of what I'm being told, then I thrive. And it's just it's quite an interesting, almost like a perfect metaphor for the topsy-turvy world that we live in. You know, when you're being told to do one thing by the powers that, again, perhaps shouldn't be, if you do the opposite, you're better off in, and maybe not in all circumstances, but in many. I've got a service due light on. Now that shouldn't have come on for at least another 20,000 miles. So I may have to book my van in again. Alright, so the little church I think is down here. Yeah, there it is. double yellow lines everywhere. Where can I park? Can I park somewhere? Ah, there's a little car park there. That's good. Interesting, the church is locked up. That's because we're probably too close to Swindon. It's not a brilliant place to be, you know, Swindon. I mean, it's okay, it's convenient, it's got everything you need, but I don't know, it's kind of, can be quite depressing sometimes. Oh, listen to me moaning. Right, let's pop out and have a look. Let's pull you off the windscreen, and I've got to stop the camera, turn you back upside down because you're upside down at the moment, and I'll be back. Right, I thought I'd swap out my shoes for some old ones because it's going to be a little muddy. Right, so there's the church. Slightly muddy path, but it's not too bad. So there's Swindon over there. The Wombra Trail. I wonder. It looks very waterlogged. I'll give it a try, although looks very waterlogged. We'll go for a little while, see if I can get over there, but if it's very waterlogged, I've got the wrong shoes on for this. There's water there, standing water. It's not too bad at the moment. Oh, no, I think I'm going to... I can hear it squelching underfoot. Yeah, I think this is a bad idea. I'm going to get absolutely... I'm going to get soaked. Luckily I changed my shoes over. But thinking more about this topsy-turvy world that we're living in at the moment, I've been having all sorts of thoughts popping into my head. Now, I did hear something the other day, somebody say something about it's not... The problem with the world is not questions that cannot be answered, it's answers that cannot be questioned. And I think that summed up beautifully the crazy world we're living in at the moment. Anyway, sorry, I did say that I wasn't going to be going on about stuff of the world. I was trying to keep my channel, sort of out of that sort of space. So I will endeavour to change the subject. Now, some people keep asking me about, what to do for a living and how do they get themselves out of the rat race. And I did touch on it a couple of videos ago, where I was talking about, I made myself a little small business where I was my own boss, a little printing business, and that was enough to get me out of the 9-to-5 grind. And then from there, I sort of developed other ideas and moved on. But one of the most important pieces of information I've ever been told, and I will impart this to you now. This is something that definitely changed my life, turned my life around, and this is a very simple piece of information that is kind of obvious, but sometimes you need to hear it more than once. And that is that where you are in your life right now, doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, where you are right at this very moment has come about as a result of every choice and every decision you have ever made up until this point. And that's it. That's the little thing I want to impart. And I've always gone through life believing that you have a choice. Now, I'm not saying your choices are easy, but you always do have a choice. So there's never been a better time to be alive right now, because if you have an ambition to do something, if you really, really want to achieve something, then now is a good time to educate yourself in whatever that thing is in order to make it happen. You know, what is stopping you from learning a skill or getting certain knowledge that will enable you to do whatever it is that resonates with you? You can do that right now. You know, there's probably a course somewhere or a method of training which will allow you to train up to do whatever it is you want to do. Now, we always like to put obstacles in our way. Well, I'm too old for that, or, you know, I just can't be bothered, or whatever. Well, okay, you know, if you're happy with your life the way it is, then great, all power to you. But if you're not and you want to make changes, if you want things to change, then it's up to you to make the decision to make those changes. Sorry, I'm getting all lectury. But yeah, that one little nugget of information was, for me, enough to inspire me to make better choices, you know, to try to do the things, or work out the things I've got to do in order to achieve the results I want to achieve, and then get on and do them. Hello, we've got a gap here. So, is this going to be any less boggy? I'm going to assume not. Nice little chair there. So 1945 to 2020, victory in Europe, 75 years. Very cool. Right, well, I actually came out here to see how far they've built out this way. I was half expecting to see a housing estate here, if I'm honest, but thankfully that hasn't happened. And that big white building, you can see, let's see if I can bring you in. You're on an extremely wide angle lens, so you're not going to see a huge amount, but there's a big white building there. That's the GWR Hospital, or the Great Western Hospital. And then basically anything this side, which is east, from there, I was expecting like huge swathes of new estates, but I literally can't see anything because of the brow of the hill, and I can't get across. Well, let me try. Let me see if I can get across here, but this grass looks pretty waterlogged, but we'll give it a go. But I must admit, I've the problem, or my concern with them building this way. I used to live on the edge of town. Well, I still kind of do, but the more they're building this way, the more it's pushing me into the middle of town. So when they reach this village, and I do believe the plans are for them to build out to and literally incorporate this this nice little village. It's just going to swallow this village up as it expands east, and that's going to push me in the middle of town. It's going to be busier, it's going to be noisier. I mean, you can already hear the road noise. I mean, that's from the A419. There's a main A road. You may be able to see the little cars going up and down it. That's always been there, although recently they built a flyover because there was a big roundabout there near the hospital, and they built a flyover for that. But yeah, you can see they're starting to widen the roads, and there's a number of large building like places where they've got loads of works vans and things parked up, so there's definitely plans for this place. Oh, there we go, look, we made it across the field. But right now, this is all, I'm happy to report, this is all still fields. But at some point, I suspect, I should have looked at the planning proposals before I set out. But at some point all these beautiful big fields are just going to be more housing estates. Kind of depressing in a way. I've been in this town all my life. I moved here when I was 5 years old, and I've been here ever since. And I think when I was about 17, I had plans to move out because the town was sort of too big and too noisy, and I never did. I never moved out. And now, here I am at 54, thinking, maybe it's time to move on, go somewhere else. But where? Now, interestingly, a lot of my family have gone to Spain. They live in the southern Spain. Not sure if I could handle southern Spain in the summertime because it gets unbearably hot, and I'm British. I'm a white pasty Brit. Over in Spain, they have a nickname for people like us who come over for our holidays. They call us the White Walkers. I presume that's after one of the zombie flicks. Yeah, we Brits, we're not very good at the heat. Now, it's fine. So this time of year, when it's sort of winter, in Spain, it's like our regular summers. And I know I've got family members over there at the moment. What they do is they go for sort of 3 months at a time, and then they come back. At the moment, because of Brexit, you can only have 90 days in Europe on a visa, and then you have to leave, and that's waterlogged. So I'm going to turn around. It is an option. I know at one point I was thinking about going to Wales, mainly because it's more rural. I could probably find a nice little place in a little village somewhere. But the weather is just like, it's just so rainy and dull. In fact, when one of my family members headed out to Spain a couple of weeks ago, she sent me a picture of what the weather was like on her way to the airport, and it was just this dull, dank, foggy, dark, grey day. And she emailed it to another family member that's already out there, and that family member took a picture from her roof, or from a balcony roof, and sent it back, and it was this beautiful picture of blue paradise, and the contrast was night and day. And so I saw those two pictures side by side, taken within minutes of each other from different parts of the world, and I'm like, why am I still here? why am I still living in this dark, dank country that just it's like, I mean, our country is, at one point I used to be quite patriotic about our country, living in Britain. We've got this amazing history, and it's just, nowadays, not so much. There's very little to be shouty about, for want of another word. I've watched our country decline into this non-functioning third world country, to be honest. That's what it feels like sometimes. And it's what's frustrating is it feels like there's this concerted effort to make that a reality, and it's really quite frustrating and quite depressing, really, when you think about it. But part of me is just thinking, why don't you just up sticks and go somewhere else? Now, I know I have had thoughts in the past about moving house. You've always got that danger of the grass being greener on the other side. I was looking at Wales quite seriously a number of years ago, and then I decided, well, to be honest, I don't know, there was something just holding me back, something stopping me. But if a lot of my family are upping sticks and heading for Spain, I don't know, maybe there's a part of me that could do that. Either that, or just, I don't know, keep the house here, rent it out, and go and live off the rent money in another country, in a warmer country. Don't know. All these things are opening up to me, all these ideas. But before I do anything, got to get my gallbladder sorted out. Apparently the health system is better over there as well. Over here, like I say, it's like a third world country service at the moment. But there we go, those are my thoughts of the day. That beautiful old church. See, this is one of the things I love about our country, is we have this rich history. This is a church I'm going to assume is from medieval times, built on originally what would have been pagan grounds. A big old yew tree again, let you see a huge great thing there. And because the pagans used to hold the yew trees as sacred, so that's why I believe yew trees are in churchyards. Yew trees live practically forever. They're almost immortal. They also walk. They slowly move, march along the land. But there we go. Yeah, that big old yew tree right there. But anyway, all these thoughts going on in my head right now, they come and go from time to time. There's no denying that. Sometimes it's nice to just vocalize them and then they settle down and go away for a while. But every now and again they still raise their little heads and start giving me a nudge. Come on, Rick, you need to do something different, do something a bit more adventurous. I must admit, part of that inspiration has come from watching a friend of mine, Sean, who's just moved to Wales. He's kind of just up sticks from London, went off to Wales, kind of had a change of everything. He's basically building himself a new life in a little village in Wales, and there's a part of me that's finding that quite appealing, if you know what I mean. Let's go this way again. But like I say, I'm not sure if it'd be Wales, because like I say, I'm not over enamored with the way this whole country as a whole. I know Wales and Scotland are technically separate countries, but they're all part of the United Kingdom. And I don't know, I'm just not over enamored at what I'm seeing. I've seen this slow decline of our country and our way of life. And it's starting to get more and more of that feeling that there's nothing left here that's worth sticking around for. Especially bearing in mind that I haven't got that many years left. I mean, what are we looking at? 20 years, maybe 30 if I'm lucky. Do I want to spend those years watching this country decline? Getting very depressed about this. Don't know. Just these are like random thoughts that have been visiting me recently. I still don't know fully what to make of it all, if I'm honest. But I'll keep on pondering anyway. But changing the subject slightly, I was in the theatre last night. It was like an experiment they were doing. They built this virtual reality world, which was an actual theatre. And it was really, really well done. And I watched a 2-hour performance by various artists who went up on stage and did these amazing, a lot of it was musical based. It was like song and dance, and actually it wasn't dance, it was just song. But it honestly felt like I was actually at the theatre, and they'd done it very intentionally that way. So they built this world. It had like your curtains that raise up, proper stage. You get to sit in the anywhere in the auditorium.
So I want to welcome, without further ado, our first performer, Jimmy Nutblast.
Hello everybody, how's everybody doing?
On the coastline, no.
And you just sit there, kick back and be entertained.
Tú eres la tristeza y de mis ojos que lloran en silencio por amor. Me miro en el espejo y veo mi rostro.
And it was really good. Whether I'm showing you any clips or not, I don't know. I think I recorded some clips, although they had some sound issues to start with, but they settled down. But yeah, I was really, really impressed. And then afterwards, a small group of us got a little tour of the theatre. They took us backstage. They have to put you on a list in order for you to be able to access the backstage. So we sort of became staff for an hour. And they showed us how it all worked. And it was a really, really good night out. And I'm actually thinking of becoming a patron, because it was live performances. And I love anything that involves live performances and the arts and stuff like that. And these guys were really, I'm not kidding, these guys were so talented. They were really, it was, to be honest, I thought doing this in VR, you know, with a VR mic, it's going to be a bit cheesy, but in reality, it was really, really professionally done. And the guy who ran it, and the guy that actually built the world, he was actually an older guy. He's been in theatre for many, many years, so he knows how it all works, and he knows, you know, how to put on a good show. And yeah, really, really enjoyable. I'm hoping they're going to be doing this as a regular thing, but we'll see. Right, we've come full circle. Battery's getting a little low, so I'm going to stop waffling now and go home and edit this. So that's been my little wander and natter. I've talked about lots. Well, I've talked lots, said very little, which is, you know, the usual thing that I do when I'm doing this sort of thing. But hopefully that was a little bit of company for you, and it'd be interesting to get your feedback and your thoughts on any of the things I've talked about. Some of the things I've talked about may be a little, I don't know, I'm not going to say controversial, that's the wrong thing, but I'm just relaying the thoughts that are in my mind at the moment. There's Guinevere, looking good as always. Still happy with my wheels, big wheels, but like I say, that service light's come on. I'm going to have to put it in for a service, although it's not due yet. But the service light's come on. I know the mice have chewed through my my wires again. I had my wires chewed through, sent them to the garage to be repaired. £300 later, it was repaired, and then within 2 days, the mice had chewed through the wires again. And I thought, I'm not going to constantly keep doing this. So I was going to wait until the next MOT, but I think that's not due for another couple of months. I'll figure it out anyway. Right, so I'm going to sign off here and say thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.
Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the songs. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos.